Hello users! Today I'll be showing you a program that I wrote in Visual Basic called RightSpace. RightSpace is a distraction-free text editor for Windows. So basically what that means, if you open up like Microsoft Office Word, you still have the whole interface of Word. You have your ribbon up here, you have the navigation bar if you don't close it like a normal person. You have everything here. You have stuff down here. You might be getting tons of notifications from Facebook or whatever. Still have a Chrome, Microsoft Edge, whatever web browser that you choose to use. Have everything open, have everything in sight. And for some people, especially if they're trying to write something long, like an essay or a story or whatever, it can be really distracting. So a lot of software developers have come out with a thing called a distraction-free writing environment, or distraction-free text editor. And that's what RightSpace is. Now, it's not the same RightSpace that is the Chrome extension. I found out about that way later after I named it. But this is a program that I wrote called RightSpace. It's available at telecom2.co.nr under Downloads. And you can get it right off of here. Safe to download. I don't know if Chrome has an issue since it's hosted on Dropbox or whatever, but it's safe to download. It's a good program. And of course you can extract it in Windows. Now then, this is a free program, completely and totally free. I'll never charge for it. But you may not redistribute it while it's still the current version of the program. So what that means is that, of course, it's free, whatever, but you can't upload it to, let's say, MediaFire, RapidShare. Somebody even use that anymore. Stuff like that, while the version that you're using is still the current version. And that's simply to not take traffic away from my website, because it needs more traffic. Which is why I'm making this video. So anyways, let's get down to it. This is RightSpace. You open it up and you start out with this nice window right here. So this is RightSpace. This is Welcome to RightSpace, the distraction-free text editor for you. Here are the key combinations to use the program. You can view them anytime in the README. So F1, it shows all these keyboard shortcuts, this entire splurge right here. You can also access that by pressing RightSpace in the top left. Control B is settings, which you can also access by clicking on settings. There's new file, open file, save as, toggle full screen, manual decrypt, and manual encryption. So until this point, it's actually a pretty standard text editor. So I'll talk about these too. Now, of course, like I said, it's distraction free, which means, of course, that it needs to be free of distractions. It sounds obvious. It's like I'm trying to extend an essay to the word limit. But so press Control F, and now we're in full screen mode, and it's nice. It's black, and there's no distractions from Windows. There's no distraction from Chrome. Here it is. Whatever. Now there is we'll delve into the settings. Now, there's a status bar down here that shows you how many characters and also what there are and what time it is. Also, if you click on this characters thing, this is new, it'll show how many words there are. So it also has a nice word counter, which is good if you are writing something like an essay where you have to know how many words that you're writing. So anyway, let's delve into the menu. Also, at any time in full screen, you can move your mouse all the way to the top of the screen, and this bar pops right back up. So anyway, so you can either enable or disable the status bar. That's fine. Also, just like any other text editor, you can change the font size, text color, whatever you want, everything like that. All nice, fine, dandy, and good. I like the standard white on black. So you can enable or disable the status bar. You can make it check for updates on startup, which is ideally what you'd like to do, unless every once in a while you come back to the website, because that'll show that it'll always pop up then if there is an update, and it barely takes any data whatsoever. So even if you're on a data cap, I'm pretty sure that you can stand to load a few bytes of data. So you can make it so that it restores text on startup. Now this is a fairly interesting thing, because you don't have to save for your text to come back on startup if you have this option enabled. So that way you can start writing a story and continue writing it, and it'll all be fine. So anyways, let's go back into settings. So text can be restored on startup or not. If you disable it, there'll just be no text on startup. Of course, that's now going to be gone. But, you know, oh well. Which I like my status bar. I like restoring the text on startup, so we'll keep that. You can make it so that escape exits full screen mode or not. So currently, if you're in full screen mode and you press the escape button, it'll go back into not full screen mode, windowed mode. However, if you disable that option, it'll make it so it just completely quits out of the program, and the next time you open the program back up, it'll be in full screen mode. Same thing if you close out of full screen mode, or close out of the program while in full screen mode from the title bar. So anyways, back in the settings. You have it so that it can either keep the size and location, or it can always go back to the default thing. So if I go to this bottom right corner, I can resize the window. I can always move the window around however I'd like, standard Windows application. And if I close the app and I reopen it, it'll stay in the same place if that keep size and location thing is enabled. And it is enabled by default. But if you don't like that and you'd like it so it always just goes right back to the original way that it's supposed to be, the default way, then you have it. You have the option. Now then, there is a thing that I don't think I have written in the README, but I think I did at one point when this came out. You can always double-click on the little resize button thing. You can always re-click on. You can always double-click on that, and it'll resize back to the default size. You can always double-click on the title bar, and it will go back to the center of the screen, which is a useful feature, I think. So, anyways, we can also make it so that this auto scrolls to the bottom. So let's pull up an essay that I recently wrote. Let's see. What kind of essay? So this is an essay that I recently wrote. And this basically, and you notice that when I open the file, and I can drag and drop the file into the text editor, when I open up the file, it scrolls all the way to the bottom of the file of the thing. So this is really useful if you're writing a story or something, in which case you'd really want to be able to just go all the way to the bottom of the screen, either when you start the program or when you open the text. Now, there's also another useful feature. And of course, you can always make it so that it shows the scroll bar. In case, for some odd reason, you don't have a scroll wheel, or you just need to really quickly scroll all the way down by just dragging the scroll bar on the side. There's also automatic encryption. Now, this is kind of an interesting thing about RightSpace. So, in a way, it encrypts your text if you have this option enabled when you save the file. So I can write, "Hello world, my name is Jesse." And I can save this onto my desktop as a standard text file. And when I open up this standard text file in something like Notepad, you can see that it's encrypted, and it's encrypted for RightSpace. As long as this header is here on the file, RightSpace will know that it is an encrypted file for RightSpace. It is a RightSpace encrypted file, and when you go to open it up on RightSpace, it will come out just like that, which is a really cool thing, and I think is really useful in case you put your stuff on a flash drive, you carry it around, and you don't want somebody else to take your flash drive and read your stuff, whether you're writing a story or whether you're writing journals, whatever. Now, you can also have it so that you can also manually do this. So Control E is manually encrypt, Control D is manually decrypt, as it said before in these instructions, which I think is a nice, cool thing. Now, you can, and technically it's not encryption, it's text parsing, but it's encrypted text, so I kept the name. Because automatic text parsing doesn't sound as secure and cool. But anyway, So we can also make it so that RightSpace can load all of its settings from a file. So basically, by default, it writes to the same directory that RightSpace is in, to a file called RightSpace.ini. And it does it upon closing RightSpace. A lot of applications that actually do this if they rely on certain settings. And this actually makes RightSpace more portable because RightSpace.ini holds all of your nice settings in here for the text color, the background color, everything. It holds in here. And so actually it makes it so that if you change something up and so that if you configure RightSpace however you'd like it, and if you move it onto a flash drive or something like that, if it sees a file called RightSpace.ini, it'll automatically load from that file. Now, you can also save it to other files that aren't named RightSpace.ini. So let's say, for example, I change the background color to purple, and I change this to blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, if I just move RightSpace and I move this file, it's not going to automatically read from this file because the name is nonsense. It's not RightSpace. That's not what it's looking for. But I can always browse for a certain file, and here it is. Click on it, and then I can load that configuration, which is nice, cool thing, whatever, and change it back to the default RightSpace.ini, which is what I would keep it at. There's not really any point to have it unless you do multiple configurations or something like that. So anyways, there's also more than just background colors, text colors. Oh gosh, that's horrendous. There are backgrounds in RightSpace. So by default, you press Show Background. Now by default, the background is in black and white, and that's to keep it more distraction free. You can change, and I'm going to put this back to black for effect, I guess. You can change the intensity of your text over your background. So this can be, darker, or it can be much lighter. And the transparency of your text corresponds with that. Now, it can't go all the way down to 0% because if it did, you wouldn't be able to see the buttons in RightSpace, so there'd be no point. I think it goes down to about 10%. I don't remember what I set it to. But it's either 10% or 25%. I know that. And it goes all the way up to 100%, which I guess is also kind of pointless, but whatever. So anyways, you have it so that there's the background. Now, if you really want to, you can also keep the background color. So that's nice, that's beautiful, that's wonderful. I don't know who made this painting that I have set as my background, but it is a user on DeviantArt. If I bother to look, I will link it in the description. It's a very beautiful painting. And he does some really nice stuff. But anyway, so you can always use your background wallpaper. You can browse for other images to use. So if I browse my pictures and go all the way down to the bottom, let's see. I don't want to use that. Like this here, Sonic and Tails. So you see, this is all weird and stretched out and not nice. And we don't want it stretched out. We want something like this background here stretched out. We don't want this stretched out. So we have options to stretch it, to center it, to tile it, or to zoom into it. So I have, of course, with this, I like center. Now I can always adjust the intensity of it, and I can also, of course, always change the background color. Since this is an image with a transparent background, changing the background color also, affects the whole thing. Now, if it had like a black background or something like that, of course that would show up. But yeah, so this is a nice cool thing. Now, I don't know if any of you've noticed this or not. I am running this on a 1080p display. So as a result, RightSpace is bigger than the default 640 by 480, which is what it is on normal displays. This is a 1080p display, but it's only a 13-inch display. It's on a laptop screen. So I have a higher DPI. RightSpace is made so that it can adjust to higher DPI screens. It's basically a must in a lot of modern apps where we have smaller and smaller screens with larger and larger screen resolutions. But a lot of I think Visual Basic programmers don't account for it, and they just make it so that their program runs and it just stretches out, and it doesn't look nice. RightSpace is made to look nice and to be nice and be the best writing environment for you on Windows. It's comparable to a program that I used to use, and it's the whole reason I made RightSpace, called Darkroom. And Darkroom is a really nice distraction-free writing program, but it's dated. It hasn't been updated in years and years and years and years. I actively maintain RightSpace, and I think that you will enjoy it if you use it. Anyways, back to more of the settings. So there's also other features of customization. So there are actually themes where it keeps, what the position is of your background, what font you used, what the font size you used, what image, what background color, forecolor, everything. It keeps that stuff in this theme. So if I wanted to save this to that theme, I can, and you see it updates, and you have all this nice information. I can also make it, I forgot, I should have pointed this out before. You can also make it so that you can change the background image's actual location. So horizontal position, I can make it go more leftward, more rightward across the screen. I can make it go, so much vertically, and I can make it zoom to so much too. So, even if I wanted to. You can also double click these and set them back to their default. So, whatever I want to do. And also, I also didn't mention this, and I don't really want a custom background location, but I can also change the border width. So as you can see right now, this nice border width, there's only 200 pixels on each side of this big wall of text. I can change this so it goes either, all the way squished in or all the way out. It's really useful, especially on a larger screen. So if I have a 23-inch screen, I don't want my text all the way out, especially not in full screen mode, because I find that more distracting than Windows itself. So anyways, that's also, you can change the font color to whatever you'd like from Microsoft's wonderful font picker thing, color picker thing. Background color, likewise, whatever you'd like. This is awful looking, but I don't care. And of course, you can then save that to whatever you'd like. You can also preview themes, so this one's just the default white on black. I can preview that and see what it looks like before I decide to set it. If I want to, I can decide to load from that. I can also reset one of these or reset all of these, which is just really useful. So anyways, and that is about it for the features of RightSpace for now. Thank you for viewing. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you will use RightSpace. I will link to RightSpace below, the telecom website, and I hope you all have a wonderful and blessed day. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to comment, rate, and subscribe. Thank you.